Well, I got another product to review for you today. This one here is from a company called AI Volt. This is their 3450 running watt super quiet generator. That's what it says there on the listing on Amazon. And that's why I wanted it personally, because I want one that's super quiet that won't, wake the dead when you're trying to run this thing at night. And if you got neighbors close by, then you want something super quiet as well. Now it says starting watts 4300, running watts 3450. So anyways, this here is a VS 4350 101, and I just want to do a quick unboxing on it tonight. Tomorrow, put oil in it and run it, break it in and all that, and then I'll play with it for a few days, and then I'll come back and actually do the actual review. But tonight is just going to be an unboxing. I hate people that, just pull it out of the box and don't even break it in and really hadn't even used it, and they want to do a review on it. So there's a lot to this one. It's got a lot of features, and I want to test them all. Just saying, hey, this is a great review. I want to, test it and make sure that it's a good product before I put my approval on it. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you would, please like and subscribe to the channel. You guys know I'll always give you an honest review, but just wanted to show you what it looks like whenever you get it in the mail. It comes in a big box like this, and it was delivered to me today from Amazon Prime. Inside the box, first thing that I see is a piece of paper here, generator quick start guide. So I'm going to set this aside, and then it seems to be packaged pretty well. Comes with some accessories. All right, so I went ahead and pulled it out of the box and set it down here and got my scales ready. Now, I will say on the Amazon listing, it says it weighs 50.7 pounds. I'm going to test that to see if it's accurate. It said 50.4 pounds. And first things first, I'm a stickler about doing, maintenance and checking all this stuff. I just like doing it. So I'm going to show you right here on top. This is where you access the spark plug. And so what you want to do to put oil in this thing is remove the spark plug access door, and all you do is just put your thumb right there and pull back this way. Now I'm gonna set it aside, and then you got a screw right here and right here, and you just take a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and I've got the little screws right there. They're not very long. And then next you want to grab right in here, and so when I pull on it, it's gonna sound harsh, but trust me, this is a really strong plastic on this unit. But I'm gonna pull on it. Yeah, you see, you got a push pin here, there's one at the top, and then there's like a little latch that hooks onto the bottom of this lip right in here. You've seen how flexible the plastic is. I mean, it's really strong. There's sound deadening foam here in the inside of it. Right in here, this is your air filter. You got a little quick release there, so you can, pull the air filter out. It's just a piece of foam, and whenever it gets dirty or whatever, you can just rinse it out yourself, and then you just put it back in there, just like the same way it comes. Now, this here is your valve cover, so after this thing's ran for a long time, if you ever need to adjust the valves, the access to the valve cover is just right here. And then this is your dipstick, so you can reach in here and pull the dipstick out. That dipstick also is the way that you're going to check the oil level. That's the same way that you're going to put oil inside the unit to fill it up, and then that's the same way you're going to drain the oil out. So I've had several generators that use the same thing, the same dipstick for checking the level, adding oil, and draining oil. So basically, the way that it's set up, you got that little lip right there when you go to drain it, and then the plastic housing goes up underneath that lip. So you just basically turn it on its side and pour the oil out of it. I don't see how it could be any easier than that for like an oil change. All right, so the first thing that I always do when I buy a small engine is pull out the spark plug, and just to check it out and get used to seeing everything there. And you can see that I went ahead and removed the spark plug, and there, right there in my fingers, that is the spark plug wire, and it goes right down there on top of the spark plug. Now I've already removed the spark plug. That hole right down there in the very bottom of that hole, that's where the spark plug goes, and I went ahead and pulled it out. The spark plug that was in it is an LG. We got a replacement spark plug today, and I just ended up getting a Champion you know, because that's what I use. You know, I'm picky about stuff, and I've always used Champion plugs or NGK, and this one was $3. So, you know, if you ever have to replace a spark plug in it, it's pretty cheap. Now, this is a model number Z9Y, and you'll notice I wrote Champion right there, Z9Y, because that's what I'm going to use. And then it uses 10W30 oil and 15.2 ounces. Anyways, I just wrote some, you know, information down on there because, you know, the oil amount was listed as liters. And so if you look here in the manual, it says that it uses 0.45 liters, and I did a conversion to ounces, so it was 15.2 ounces. And then it tells you the spark plug and the spark plug gap and all that, and to use 1030 oil. So I just made notes for myself so I wouldn't have to keep referring to the manual. All right, so as I stated, I'm going to show you how to put the oil and stuff in there. First, you want to remove your drain plug and set it aside. As you can see, I've got this sitting up on a cart, and I'm doing this inside because it's like 90-something degrees outside today, so I didn't want to fight the weather. And I've never had gasoline in this thing, so I thought, I'll just bring it inside and go ahead and fill it up with oil. Now, the way that I measured my oil is I had an old 2-cycle oil measuring bottle for, you know, like a boat, and I just had this laying around. I use it all the time for mixing up like spray for the yard, you know, weed killer spray and all that. But I got a clean one so I can measure out the ounces exactly. So once this thing's sitting on the ground, it measures right at 15 ounces. Now, this thing does call for 15.2, so I figured I'd start with 15, and that 0.2 of an ounce, I could, you know, look at it and see if I need to add a little bit more. You know, I'm just going to take and pour the oil in there real slow. All right, so one thing I wanted to point out is when I went to fill it up with oil, I didn't get but 12 ounces of oil in there. So I guess there might have been a little bit of oil left in it from the factory. I did notice that whenever I received it, that there was some oil on the dipstick when I first unscrewed it. So I don't know, I guess they probably ran it, maybe, I'm not sure. But there was definitely some oil on the inside. And like I said, I was only able to get about 12 ounces of oil in there. So for the first time, if you don't get 15 ounces in there, then, you know, I guess there's a little bit of oil trapped in there, or maybe the manual's wrong. I'm not real sure. I won't know until I do the first oil change and get it all out of there. Anyways, as you can see, oil is right there to the top of the threads, just a little bit below the top of the threads there, probably about 2 or 3 threads down. So I don't know how well you guys can see that. And so whenever I screw the dipstick in, it shows all the way to the full mark. So make sure when you do this too that you're on a level surface, so you know your readings are accurate on your dipstick. All right, guys, so now that we've got oil in there, I just wanted to run over some maintenance information for you. It says after the first 5 hours, which is break-in, because they say that it takes 5 hours to break this thing in, it says to change the engine oil. And it says after the first 25 hours or first month to go ahead and change the engine oil. And then after that, it's every 100 hours or 6 months. Change the engine oil in the air filter, inspect and or replace the spark plug, clean and replace the spark arrestor. And so, like I said, I went ahead and got a aftermarket spark plug for it. And then as far as the oil, I used 10W30. I just ended up having to buy the SuperTech Walmart full synthetic oil, just simply because that was all that I could find. They didn't have any Mobil One or Valvoline or Pennzoil. So, but it did say in the manual after like 100 hours that you'll want to clean that spark arrestor. And if you're not familiar with that, it's very simple. We turn this around here. You can see right there, that is your exhaust. That little screen right there gets clogged up with carbon from the exhaust. So what you'll do is just take that screw out, and clean the screen. You can soak it in probably acetone or brake cleaner, and that screen will look like brand new. But make sure you put it on there, because if you don't, well, it could, you know, shoot a spark out the back and cause a fire. One thing I want to make mention of is the gasoline. It does say in the manual to use 87 or higher grade octane in this generator. I'm going to run, you know, 87 in there, but I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to run ethanol free gas in it. It does say that it can use ethanol gas up to 10%, which is, you know, what you find at all the gas stations. But, you know, I went and got some 87 octane that's ethanol free, just simply because I don't want to have any problems with the carburetor. And if I accidentally leave some old gas in here, I don't want it to varnish up. So what I was going to do is put some, you know, ethanol free gas in here, a little bit of fuel stabilizer, just in case I forget to run the gas out. I don't want to have a clogged up carburetor. All right, so I just wanted to point out one thing. This was right there around the filler neck for the gas tank, and it basically says stop, you know, before you put any oil, you know, do anything to make sure it's got oil in it and make sure it's got gas in it and all that. Now here on the very bottom, it does say crankcase capacity 15.8 ounces, and we did the conversion from what it said there in the manual, and we come up with 15.2 ounces. And so whenever I went to put oil in this thing, it only held around 12 ounces. And you can see I measured it out to the ounce. You know, this bottle tells you the exact ounces. And, you know, like I said, I put 15 ounces in here, and this is what I have left. There's still a little over 2 ounces in there. So, you know, make sure that whenever you put oil in this thing, don't go by the tag here, don't go by the manual, go by the dipstick there. So it uses, you know, somewhere around 12 ounces of oil, somewhere in there. Just go by what the dipstick says. Like, put 12 ounces in there, check it, and then, you know, if you need to add more, you know, make sure you use the dipstick. That way it'll be correct. So the manual says that the generator takes 0.92 gallons, which is just under 1 gallon of gas, or 3.5 liters. All right, so I just wanted to show you what the front of the generator looks like. I know we kind of went backwards when we started this thing out, but I just wanted to show you guys how to, you know, add the oil and all that kind of stuff. So first things first, this here is the front, and you can see right in here you've got your vents down here on the bottom. You know, that's where your air is going to be sucked in. It's going to go to the engine, and there's going to be air circulating around because there's a fan on the inside. So, you know, like I said, whenever you change your oil, you know, make sure that you put the side cover back on it, because that's how these generators keep cool. They have air circulating, you know, around and pushing on these little side panels on each side. And you know, if you have the side panel off, it's not going to stay cool like it should if you have it on, because air is going to be circulating around there. So when you take that side panel off, the air is just going to go out the side, and it's not going to be circulating around the other side over here. So like I said, make sure you keep the side panel on when you're running the generator. But you know, we'll jump up right in here. If all this looks a little intimidating to you, don't let it be intimidating, because it's very simple the way that they've got it set up. You can see right in here that is the low idle push button. You know, whenever the engine's running too high and you don't need it to run that high, you can mash that button, and it should drop the idle down so it's not running as high. Number 2, this here is your low oil indicator. That's a really important feature, and that's one reason why I really like this generator, is because let's say you run the generator and over time it's going to burn oil, use oil, and so let's say this thing got down to an unsafe level. Well, it's going to start flashing and letting you know that, you know, it's low of oil, and it's going to turn itself off, and you're going to come out and say, hey, why'd the generator stop? And you're going to try to crank it back, and it won't crank for you. And the reason being is because it has a low oil shutoff, and until you put some more oil in it and put it up to a safe level, it's not going to crank back. So, you know, that's one feature that they put on higher end generators. Now this button right here, this is your overload reset button, and that you want to use that whenever, you know, let's say you plug too much stuff into the generator and you've overloaded it, then you want to mash that button to reset it. So this button here is just a selector type button. You mash it and it tells you different information, and you keep on mashing it and it cycles through. Now it's going to tell you some different information, like your fuel quantity, your voltage, your power output, your frequency, your single run time, and your total run time. So yeah, it's gonna, when you mash the button, it's gonna pop up here on the display, all that information. That button just helps you cycle through it so you can see different information. All right, so this little area right here is just a little LED light, And this is a really cool feature because what it is a carbon monoxide watchdog indicator. And it says if it turns red, it shuts off, and yellow for service. What that does is it senses if there's dangerous gas from the exhaust, and if it picks up that it's at harmful levels, then it'll shut the unit off. So that's just to protect you guys, keep you from breathing in those harmful gas, and it could save your life. So I thought that was pretty cool feature. Not all your generators have that. All right, so right in here, this is your cigarette lighter plug. It's a 12 volt DC plug, and you know, this is pretty neat. You can plug a bunch of different stuff in there, from fans and lights and inflators and things like that. Like I said, that is DC. Now I'm going to jump down to right in here, and you can see that this says DC 5 volt and USB, and you can see right in there it's got a USB-A port there on top, and then it shows that there is a USB-C port on the bottom. Anyways, the reason I jumped down here is because this little button right here is a reset for this outlet and this outlet. So if you overload it, this is your reset right in there. You can see that it looks very well made. I mean, seriously, they've got like a little plastic weatherproof type thing that fits over the push button, keeps dirt and stuff out of there. All right, now right in here, this is a multi-switch, and what this does, it controls basically the carburetor. This is your choke and your run and your stop. And the way that it works is, you know, it's got a little turn switch here, and right now you can see I've got it to start, and that's where I go ahead and try to crank it with the pull rope here on the side. And then once I get it running, then I'm going to move it up to run position, and then if I ever want to stop the unit for any reason, then I just turn it right there. This area here is for running 2 generators in parallel. You can hook them together to, you know, double your output. And what these are is just little plugs right in there, and they make specific wires for these. I'm sure you'll probably have to reach out to AI Volt and ask them, do they carry them, or if you have to get them somewhere else. But you know, that's just in case you wanted to run 2 of these same generators side by side and hook them together. So behind this little flap here, this is your AC side, and this is a 120 volt outlet, and it's rated at 30 amps. Now it is a locking style, and you can see right there by the little notches cut out right there on the outlet, and you can see by the type of plug right in there. But it comes with this little adapter, so if you don't have that locking style, you can use this 3-prong adapter. Now this outlet here is going to be used for like RVs. You know, the way that the locking part of it works is you just match it up like this, and you push it in, and then you turn it to the right. And once you turn it to the right, that plug locks in, and it just can't be pulled out. So the way that you remove it, obviously, is turning it back the other way, counterclockwise, and then just kind of wiggling it out, and it comes out just like that. So it comes with this adapter in case you want to use this type of plug here. Now moving over to this side, you've got your resettable circuit breakers. Now this one here on top says 20 amp, and that belongs to this one right here. And the bottom one says 30 amp, so it's going to belong to this one right in here. And then over to this side, then you've got your AC side. It's 120 volt, and again, it's rated at 20 amps. Right in here, this is for your ground. This is like a little grounding stud. So if you do want to, you know, ground the unit to, let's say, a grounding rod, let's say you've got it mounted permanent or something, you can always just, you know, put your wire right around that and tighten it down, and that'll ground the unit. This generator here is pure sine wave. It's rated at 60 hertz. So it should be good for all your electronics and all your sensitive devices, TVs, laptops, things like that. Anyways, before I go any further with the review, I'm going to test it out and run it myself. I'm going to go outside and start it up, break the engine in, and it says whenever you break the engine in for the next 5 hours, make sure you just vary the load a little bit from time to time. Don't just let it set and run at the same speed. You know, it said not to run it more than 50% of its load. So, you know, go out there and plug a space heater into it or something, and just, you know, operate it at different RPMs, and that way that engine can break in everything, and, you know, the piston rings and all that kind of stuff, and everything will seal up nice, and it should last you a long time. Now, like I said, I'm going to break it in myself and play around with it, and then I'm going to come back and give you a review on it. You know, I'm not just going to, like I said, I'm not just going to pull it out of the box and read it out of the manual to you guys and show you the features and, you know, say, hey, this is a great review. I'm actually going to, you know, test it out myself and see what I think and, you know, give my honest feedback on it. So make sure you stay tuned. All right, so I come out here to put some gasoline in it, and I pulled the cap off, and I gotta say, you got a little safety chain right here so you don't lose the cap, and then you've got a little screen right in there to keep all the garbage and trash out of it. And then the little red piece down there, if you look at it from the very top, you can see that it's got a little flat area on there. That's your fill line, so you don't overfill it. Now, one cool feature that this one has is, let's say you filling it up with gas and you spill some outside of the area right in there, then it's just going to spill out right over in here, and it's got like a little channel that's built in to the case there, so you know any excessive gas is just going to pour off to the side of the generator. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I gotta say the cap, man, that's a really thick cap. I just wanted to comment on it because it was so freaking heavy and it felt so thick, and you know I had to comment on it because usually when you know get these the caps on them are really cheap and they're not very well made. I just thought this one was really nice. All right, so here's the exciting part. I get to start it for the first time. You see I got it in the start position. I'm gonna go ahead and get a nice grip on it. I'm gonna pull it a couple times real soft just to get a feel for it, and then I'm gonna pull it real good right now. I'm gonna hold on to the handle, and that's another thing I want to comment on. The handle is super thick on this thing, very sturdy. You ain't gonna break the handle. Real quick and start it. Started on the first pull. Look at that. Man, I gotta say, I'm impressed. That thing started on the first pull. I moved it to the run position, and this thing is quiet. Goodness gracious. That is really quiet. And that's right up against the vehicle right there. So some of that sound is bouncing back. But man, that thing is super quiet. You never know when you see some of the listings on Amazon, they all say that they're quiet, but I gotta say this one really is. Alright guys, so I've got a watt meter plugged in, and you can see right here that it shows the voltage as well. It's at 124.4 volts at 60 hertz, and that's all perfect. And so I'm gonna also test the sine wave, and then I'm gonna plug a load into it with a heater. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so I had a little boo-boo. I was testing and making sure that it is pure sine wave, and it is. And then I dropped this thing and come off my knee and hit the gravel, so it's acting a little goofy. So don't know if I can fix it or not, but this thing is all over the freaking place. But rest assured, it is pure sine wave. I at least got to see that part before I knocked it off. Alright, so while the engine's breaking in, I've been mashing this button on and off. And that right there, like I said, is the idle button, so it makes it idle real low. And you know, every few minutes I just been playing with it, and when I mash it, it idles up higher. So that way you don't have to plug anything into it if you don't want to while it's breaking in. You can just mash that button every once in a while, you know. So it'll rotate those RPMs and break that engine in properly. Alright guys, so I went ahead and plugged in a space heater to it, and it's running at 700, 750, and that's on low. And like I said, I'm just running some different things through there to just test it out. Now I'm not getting above 50% of the rated wattage, so, but I'm going to get close. I'm going to get up there to about 14, 15, 1600 watts. You can see right there it's about 620 watts. Now I'm going to change the mode on the heater to high heat. And you heard the generator speed up just a hair. It made just a little bit of a surge noise, and then it's jumped up to 1400 watts. But yeah, that a little bit of jolt there was very minimal. I could barely hear it. Seems to run it pretty good. Right now I'm at 1300 1,350 watts, and it's stabilizing out somewhere around 1,300. So yeah, seems to do really good. So it is day 2. I told you I wasn't gonna rush the review, so this is day 2, and I've been running the generator, on and off yesterday and today, and finally ran it out of gas. I didn't time it or anything. It said to let it run for 5 hours. I just filled it up full of gas and just ran it out till it just couldn't run no more. So it's still warm a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the oil. Now I went ahead and pulled the screw out on each side, and then just to show you how easy it is to take off the cover here, you just kind of pull on it, and then it just comes off that easy. And then, like I showed you guys in the beginning, how to put oil in it right there, what you're going to do is unscrew the dipstick, and you can see right there it's full. And then the way that I'm going to drain it is, I usually put my oil from all my generators and anything that I need to change oil in a 5-gallon bucket and put the lid on it. And so the best way that I have thought of to drain this is by putting it up on a set of stairs and then just kind of tipping it over. And you can see it's flowing out there really easy because it's nice and hot. But I'm just going to let it drain till it all drains out, and hopefully I don't make a mess. But if I do, it's all right. But I gotta say, the oil's a little dirty. I ain't gonna lie, it's after 5 hours of use, I can tell it's time to change it. And I would suspect it was probably around 4 or 5 hours of use. I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna set it over on that bucket like that and just let it drain out, guys. Just that simple. Make sure I get all of it out there. For the most part, all the oil's out of it, so I'm just gonna tip it back up. And the good news is oil didn't get all over the place. You can see right there that it pretty much stayed contained right there in that little lip area. So I'm just gonna wipe all that off, clean it up real good. I gotta say, that was probably the easiest oil change I've ever done. Man, that's awesome. I didn't get any on the inside of the casing or nothing. So now I just gotta refill it full of oil. But I wanted to show you guys at home that, this is not just some game. I do test everything that I review. I test it and make sure that, it's as good as it says that it is. I wouldn't recommend you go buy it if I didn't, believe in it myself. But you can see right there, there's the oil. There's some grass mixed in with it too. But actually, the oil's not too bad. You can see right there where I pull it up on the side, but it does have some dark color to it. So I showed you guys in the very beginning that there was a plastic bag with some accessories and stuff that come with the generator, and this is one of them. I hadn't opened it until just now, and I've needed a screwdriver and had to go to my toolbox and get one when there was one right here all along. But it's a Phillips head on this side, and then you pull it out, and it's a flat head on this side, and it just locks in there. So I thought that was pretty neat for them to include the screwdriver, because you're going to need a screwdriver to get into the side of it. And then they also give you, a spark plug wrench, so you can take and hook that into your spark plug and then use the end of the screwdriver to unloosen it. So, it's a very basic kit, but I'd hold on to it because it's very handy. If you're out in the field and you need it and ain't got tools. Plus, it comes with this little funnel. But I got to looking at this one a few minutes ago, and it's got an O-ring on it. So you can screw it down into that dipstick area and pour your oil right into it. And who knows, you might even be able to screw this down in there and use that as a way to drain it out. Now, I didn't do that. You've seen how I did mine, and mine didn't get anywhere. But this might be an option for some of you. You might be able to screw that in there and tip it over, and it might drain out of there pretty good. I don't know. Never tried it. And then for this accessory, this is pretty cool. You take and you plug it in the DC port on the front of the generator, and then you hook this up to a 12-volt lead acid battery or an AGM battery, and this can charge it. Now, you obviously don't want to hook it up to a lithium battery, but you could hook it up to, a lead acid or AGM battery, and it should charge it no problem. Anyways, I'm gonna put some oil in it, call it a night, and then and then come back tomorrow and I guess do the final review on it. All right, so I showed you guys that I just drained the oil into the bucket there. Now I'm gonna fill it up. Now remember on the first day when I got it, I put oil in it and I put like 12 ounces, I believe, in it, or 12 and a half ounces, something like that. And it called for like 15 or 15 and a half. Well, since it wasn't right, I wanted to go ahead and try to put 15 in it today and see if it'll take 15. If not, now would be the time to know exactly how much it takes, because if it overflows when I put 15 in there, then next time I'll just probably fill it up to 12 and then top it off from there. But I wrote right here on the generator 12 to 15.2 ounces, so who knows how much it takes. So anyways, I've already got a clean funnel here. This is the one I used the other day. Instead of using the one that they sent with me, since this one's already clean, I'm gonna go ahead and just use it. And then we've already got it pre-measured out right here to exactly 15 ounces. So I'm just gonna slowly pour it in. And if I overfill it, then it's just gonna flow right into the bucket, so that's not a big deal. So I'm gonna stop about right there for now. I got about 4.5 ounces left. Looks like it can go a little bit more. All right, well, I guess the lucky number of the day is 12, like it was the other day. 12 ounces is what it takes to change oil in there. And you can see right here, guys, it's all the way up on the threads like it should be. I've done the homework for you guys, so you guys don't have to. And AI Volt, you guys need to change that in the manual. It's definitely not 15.2. All right, so it's the end of day 2. The sun's going down, and I did the first oil change and the break-in, so we're all done. Got oil back in it. All I gotta do is do a little cleanup, and we're ready to do the testing and all that. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you've watched this far, and if you would, please do me a favor, hit that like button down there on the bottom, and if you would, hit that subscribe button. It really helped me out, get my video out to more people, and you guys know that I shoot you guys straight, and I do the homework so you guys don't have to. All right, guys, so I'm back, and I'm in this goofy hat. So today we're going to be doing a little testing. We're going to do a decibel test, and that way you guys can get an idea just how loud it is. Now I know, I'm off the road a little ways, but I am going to get a little bit of road noise from time to time. But we're going to do the best that we can. Now, whenever you test a generator, they're usually tested at 22 feet away from the generator. So if you see, a listing and it says that one's quieter than the other, then you might want to check and make sure they should all be tested at the same distance away. And the standard for rating a generator is 22 feet. So I've got a tape measure here, and you can see that it's pulled out to 22 feet. And I have a decibel meter here on my phone. I'll tell you right now that it works. And then when I start talking, you see it's very sensitive and jumps right back up there. So I've got the generator running, and it's on a low RPM. It's on the low setting, so it's not ramped up high. Looks like 65, 66 dB is where it's going to be. Now I'm going to go turn it on and let it ramp up to higher RPMs and see what it is. All right, so I went down there and I turned it off of the low idle setting, so now it's revved up as much as it's going to with no load on it. So come here and take a look at this. I'm gonna reset it, and then I'm gonna be quiet so you guys can see. So you guys seen that it was about 66, 65, and it's just as quiet with it at a lower RPM. And, it's not a very loud generator at all. I'm shocked at how quiet it really is, because to find a generator at this price point, compared to like some of the old Hondas, where they're super quiet, I just can't believe that for $500 and something, this thing is that quiet. So it's pretty impressive. I'll take you over here and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so you can see right down here on the front, the low idle button is turned off, so it should be revving up a little bit. Now I'm going to turn it on so it'll lower the idle down. Watch this. But you can see that the decibels doesn't change that much. Watch this. Right up. I know this is not a correct demonstration for decibels, but watch this. I'm gonna turn it so it'll rev up. Alright guys, so look at this. I am this close to the generator and I'm not raising my voice, not trying to talk over it, and you can see it's right there. And that's with the low idle shut off. So you know, that's as loud as it's gonna get in that with no load on it like that. So yeah, that's pretty quiet, guys. I'm really shocked at the sound levels of this thing. Alright, so I just wanted to show you that I'm fixing to plug in a 1500 watt space heater. I've already got it plugged in there. I'm going to turn it on, and then it's going to be on low when I first turn it on, and then I'm going to have to program it to turn it on high, because it's, you know, like close to 80 something degrees outside, so I'm going to have to, it'll take me a second to get it turned over there. But listen to the motor. It's on low, and it didn't even change the RPMs at all. It's still running, you know, nice and quiet. It didn't surge up or anything. So running the heater on low didn't really, you know, strain it at all. So now I'm going to turn it to high. It like stuttered for just a second, and then it revved back up, and it's revving just a little bit higher. But I mean, that thing is still quiet. I'm talking right here, and you know, it's still quiet, guys. So if you live in a neighborhood and your power goes out, you're worried about bothering your neighbors, this would be a good generator for that. I mean, that space heater is running at 1500 watts, and it didn't even hardly, you know, affect the generator. I mean, it ramped up just a tiny little bit. So I got an old lawnmower here. I got a new one last year, so I hadn't run this one all year, so the battery's dead as hell in this thing. I'm gonna test the battery, and you can see that it shows 0.40, and this thing is dead as a doornail. Should be around 12 volts. But anyways, we're gonna hook that battery charger into the generator there, and we're gonna charge it just for a second and see if power is going into that battery, so we'll know for sure if the battery charging feature works. Now this only works on, you know, lead acid batteries. It doesn't work on lithium, but we're just gonna test it out. So first I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. All right guys, so I've got it plugged into the generator. See right there, and then the cables come up right there. And you can see there's the multimeter. It's 11.15, 178, and just jumping up, it's trying to charge that battery. You can see I've got the probes there. So yeah, it does charge a 12-volt battery. I can confirm that it works. All right, so I wanted to show you that the USB-C port does work. You can see there at the bottom where my thumb is, it shows 9 watts, 11 watts, 12 watts, 11 watts, 12 watts. So, you know, this is just charging a Samsung Galaxy S8. It's an old phone that I had. Now next, I'm gonna try with just the regular USB port there on the front of the generator. I've already got a phone charger plugged in. And you can see right there, it does charge it. I'll unplug it for you. Plug it in again. There you go, 44%. So the ports do work on the front. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you the voltage says on the display 124, 125, and on the voltmeter it's 124. And when I can hold it on there and get good contact, it says 124, but yeah, it's really close. So yeah, that screen is right on the money. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you right here on the screen, there's your fuel gauge. Now I know it's going to be flickering because of the phone. It's going to cause it to flicker. But you can see right there, there's your fuel gauge. And then right there on the top, that is your watt meter. it says 0.6 kilowatts. So once I kick so I have the heater on low, so that's why it says 0.6 kilowatts. So that's registering about 600 watts. And then once I turn it on high right here, I'm gonna turn the generator or the heater on high and listen to the generator kick up just a little bit, and then you'll see the kilowatts over here on the screen. They'll jump up as well. Come here, look guys. 1200 watts, 1300 watts, 1400 watts, 1500 watts, 14 watts. So yeah, but it's running at 1400 watts, guys, and that's exactly what I get when I test the heater with a watt meter. It puts out about 1400 watts, so that's pretty accurate. It says it's 60 hertz, and then look right there, it jumped down to 1300, and I think that's about what it is, about 1349. I think is usually what I get when I test to 1400. So yeah, the screen's pretty accurate. And then you've got like a timer on there, and then it tells you how much time you got left with how much gas you got in there. 4 hours, and then at 122 volts. So yeah, this thing's really neat, very informative on the screen right there. All right guys, so as you can see, we've been testing the generator, and I gotta say, for $500 range, and this thing is worth every penny. Everything that I've thrown at it, I plugged in, the 1500 watt space heater. Didn't even act like it was, under any kind of load whatsoever. And I charged a 12 volt battery and all that. I plugged a refrigerator into it, and it didn't even surge at all. I mean, literally, when the compressor kicked on, it had a little bit of a surge, but then just running normal, this thing will easily run a refrigerator and lights. And I mean, with this much wattage, you could run a refrigerator, a big TV, a big like LED TV, some lights, and your internet and all that. So I mean, this is a pretty good size generator. I don't know how long this one will last. I've not given it a long-term test, but just here, over the last couple of days, me getting it and checking it over and breaking it in for roughly 5 hours, or a tank of gas. I was able to get a feel for it and play around with it, and I gotta say, it cranks good every time. And the screen, I mean, you've seen the screen give good information. It's not like it was just there, just to put whatever on the screen. It actually was really close, and so that's the best that you can do. Now they say that it'll run for about 5 hours at a 25% load. I believe it's a 25% load. I'll put it down in the description for the run times and all that. That's not something that I really tested, because literally it would take a lot of time sitting out here with it and listening to it running with a stopwatch, and just to let the thing run just to test it. It would take me forever to review this thing. All right guys, so that's a wrap. I gotta say, I'm very impressed with this AI Volt generator. It seems to do really well. It provides nice clean power. You've seen that I tested it with the oscilloscope, and it had a nice clean sine wave. Oh no, you didn't see it. I broke the oscilloscope. I went to video it, and it fell off my knee, but I did test it. It is nice clean power, and it does run it at 60 hertz. So that's exactly what you want, and it's at the right voltage for for you to run all your electronics and all that stuff. And like I said, it's just an all-around nice generator. It starts real easy, and it doesn't take a whole lot to pull it, and there's just not much to it. I mean, it's just a reliable generator. I've been messing around with it for the last week, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed, especially at this price point. I mean, literally, if this thing was a Honda, it'd be a lot more money. And so I'm just really shocked that they can make something this nice for the $500 range. So I gotta say, very, very impressed with this generator. Now, my only thing that I would change about it is, I wish that it had a larger tank, where, if you had to run this thing all night long, then, then you could, so I would, or at least give you some sort of provision where you could, you know, hook into the gas cap here or something, or hook into it somehow to give you more runtime. They just don't have that. But anyways, that's my only, you know, my only concern is you know, the gas tank size, because it's just under a gallon. But if you need to run anything in your house, this should do most everything. So this thing seems to run just great, and so it's super quiet as well. So you know, if you do live in a city or somewhere where you got neighbors close by and you don't want to, you know, have a loud generator and aggravating everybody in the neighborhood, then, you know, I don't think you'll find anything at this price point that works this well. And so anyways, I'm very impressed with it. So, you know, I appreciate you guys watching. Now, I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you know, want to purchase it, you know, you can buy it from my link down below. You know, I might make $5 on it or something like that, but you know, every little bit helps, and it helps support my channel and all that. But I gotta say, it's definitely a good generator, and I definitely approve of it. You know, if it wasn't no good, I'd let you guys know. But it runs good, starts good, puts out good clean power. So I don't know what more you could ask for. Now, as far as longevity, I can't speak on longevity because I've had it for a week. But I know that, you know, it's every bit as nice as some of the Hondas and all that. You know, it's just you know, it seems well put together. It doesn't seem cheap at all. So if you're on the fence about getting one, you know, you shouldn't be, because it is a nice generator. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. So until next time. All right, guys. So now there's one thing that I do want to touch on. I know I kind of ended the video already, but you know, you guys didn't see me test this outlet here, but I tested it off camera and I forgot to video it. But I did test it with a multimeter, and it was putting out about 123 volts, and it fluctuated a little bit from there. But you know, it was right on par with this one over here. But I didn't get a chance to check it. I don't have a camper or none of that, so that's why I didn't really go into great detail on this one. But I did test it with a multimeter, and it tested out. Sorry about the ending there. You guys can go now. See ya. Thanks for watching.